Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello. Congratulations to you, MC Ike Diamond, Noble Police and MC Cole. I dey hello. Yetunde Majek Okeshola nko Shama gbadun ní tiẹ̀. Ayaba Esther George Orekele wa tiwa. Mr. Otun Arabi nko Shama jokojokojo. TKM Connection mo gbádùn ẹ jù. Bayo Adeyaga MD and CEO Noble People's International. I dey hello it's Wale. Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello, Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello, Prophetess Divine, presenter. J-Boy Adeyaga, Oku iṣẹ́ ọpọlọ. Kiki Nana Mingo, Ọmọ Adeyaga. Ìwọ ni head of department ní ìlú Naija. Reverend David mi ń kọ́ MC Kivet mo ń gbádùn ẹ jù. Ìwọ ni presenter tó kọjú owó. Gbogbo ọmọ Naija pátápátá ti ń bẹ nílùú London. Ẹ kú iṣẹ́ ọpọlọ. Ẹ ṣé. Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello. Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello. Online radio tó kójú owó, Noble People's ní kẹ́ máa lọ. Online TV tó dángájíá, àwọn ní bàbá. Event paparazzi, àní àwọn ní bàbá gbogbo wọn. Event coverage ńkọ́, Noble People's ní ká lọ. Ní Naija àti lókè òkun. Àwa yàtọ̀, epi jolly, Adeyaga, we dey jolly, yeah. Bàbá adúpẹ́ o, bàbá adúpẹ́ o, bàbá adúpẹ́ o, bàbá adúpẹ́ o. Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello, Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello, okay now. IGDO Akindayini ṣètọ́jú Adeyaga aláṣẹ People's Magazine. Báyọ̀ oyè fẹ̀sọ̀ ńkọ́ mo ń gbádùn ẹ jù. Tọ́jú yèyé arẹwà Orékelẹ́wà tí ń jẹ́ Sunshine. Pásítọ̀ Lálẹ́rẹ̀ mi ẹ kú iṣẹ́ Olúwa. Pẹ̀lú gbogbo ọmọ ìjọ CAC Mount Zion International UK. Ẹ kú ìtọ́jú Adeyaga. Bàbá mi pàtàkì ọ̀rọ̀ ṣì ń bọ̀ tó bá dọ́jọ́ wájú. Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello, Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello, Primate E.T. Koka mo ń gbádùn ẹ jù. Pẹ̀lú gbogbo ọmọ ìjọ Holy Pentecostal Church of Christ Aládùúrà ní Calford, London ló gbé ṣiṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run ọba. Ẹ bá mi tọ́jú Yétúndé Majek Okeshola tí ń jẹ́ Màmá Òkìkí. Bàbá adúpẹ́ o, bàbá adúpẹ́ o, bàbá adúpẹ́ o lórí Adeyaga. Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello, Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello, Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello, Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello.
Noble People's International Magazine, unveiling Noble TV and Noble Radio worldwide.
Èrò ẹ wá wo tí bàbá ṣe láyé ọmọ rẹ̀. Noble People's International. Now you be Baba wọn. Oya ẹ wá wo tí bàbá ṣe láyé ọmọ rẹ̀. Noble People's International, I dey hello, sing it. Noble People's International, now you be Baba. Noble Radio, Noble TV, I dey hello, Noble People's International, now you be Baba. Noble Radio, Noble TV, I dey hello, When I think of the past, now you be Baba. When I think of the present, you dey gidiga. When I think of the future, you said you are my solid rock. Now you be Papa, make we jolly, noble family. By your heart, I got make you jolly. Ah, wow, Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello, Noble People's International. Now you be Baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello,
Gentlemen, I hope your Monday is good and your weekend was good equally. Thank you for joining us on this program all the time. Today is another wonderful day that the Lord has made. And this is your program, Women of Valor. On this program, we encourage ourselves on how to be a good woman, a role model in our home, how to be a good wife, and how to be the best that we can possibly be in all our relationships with our families and our friends and our siblings as a woman of valor. I want to appreciate everyone for all your support on Noble People TV, because without you, we can't do it alone. And we really want to express our sincere appreciation and gratitude. I've seen some of our fans that has already joined in. My friend Mulika Tamolade Iyola, you're welcome to this program. Thank you for watching. There is Ogungbe Adebola Rutimi as well. Thank you for joining us on this program. Mr. Adebayo Adeaga, thank you for joining us. Mrs. Bukola Murakiyo, thank you, Ma. God bless you. Mr. Funsho Bagbon as well is online watching live from Nigeria. Thank you for joining us on this program. On this program today, we are going to be discussing habitation, morals, and values. Habitation, morals, and values. What is expected of a woman of valor in relation to living together with our husband? We have many other couples that are not married, but that are living together as well. Maybe they have a child together, or they just decide to be civil partners in whichever capacity. But we want to discuss about habitation, morals, and values. That is, what is expected of a woman in relation to living together with a spouse. I would first of all like to define moral values in its own sense, which means standard of good and evil, which govern an individual's behavior. Standards of good and evil, which governs an individual behavior. You will see that it says standard of good and evil, not just good. Which means as an individual, we can choose to be good, to do something good, or do something that is evil. But of course, on this program, we want to encourage us on the good aspect and how, so that we can have a very good home in essence. We will also touch on the things that can cause us to go on the other side, which is the evil side, and what can make us to be, the way that we are, which is not good, that we're trying to encourage ourselves to guide against. First of all, I would like to last week, last week we have one of our sisters that asked a question on how to express yourself to your husband without having to say it verbally. How do you let your spouse, your husband, know that you are not happy without actually talking? The topic for today is going to address some of the situations surrounding this, and we will all be able to learn more from it. There was another request that we should discuss on having joint account, if it is a good idea or not. I'm sorry we will not be able to cover that aspect today, but I promise you by next week, by the grace of God, we will be able to touch on that. But today's topic, we address the question on how we can express our feelings to be known to our husband or our spouse without having, if we don't want to talk about it. Okay, now as the topic states, habitations, morals and values. Now we will realize that when two people decide to come together to live together as a couple, it's either you are married, sometimes you may not be married, which, you know, according, I'm not here to tell you what is to judge you whether you should not live with a man that you're not married to. That is not why we're here. But what we want to discuss is how you make your habitation, you know, peaceful and conducive in your relationship and in your marriage. There has been a lot of issues, most especially in this western part of the world, that you know, women often send their partner, their husband, packing. We want to try and look at the reasons, the causes why women does these things. And one of the reasons that I would like to address is women, we often say something like, my husband is lazy, or he's just not pulling up his socks, he's just not contributing. And what is the essence or the value of him being in the house? He might as well go. And you will see that for this reason, a woman can decide to send the husband, you know, packing. Some might, you know, take it in a way to call the police and just to evict the man. Some will go and, you know, change the lock when the man has gone out so that he doesn't have access back into the house. Other reasons that people will send their husband away from home can be infidelity, like if a man is unfaithful and the lady felt, you know, that they're suspicious of some practices that is not, you know, of benefit to the home, they might feel very offended and, you know, unforgiving, and just want the man out of their life for good. And for this reason, they can send the husband packing as well. Another reason is lack of trust. When there is no trust in a relationship, and every now and again is suspicion, and, you know, the wife feel that the husband is not trustworthy, and not knowing how to handle this situation or how to resolve the matter, they can, you know, resolve into, okay, you might as well go. And if they're living together, either married or they're not married, they can send the husband packing, or, you know, call the police or turn it into a fight or some, or, you know, or other things. But we will realize that it is only in the western part of the world that you will see a lady sending their men out. But in Africa, other parts of the world, it is not the usual practice, it is not the norm, because when you're married, you will move into your husband's house. And for that purpose, you will really not have the right to say the man should leave his own home, or, you know, you will just accept and just stay. And if you're not happy, yes, of course, you can go. In the olden days, I would say, when I say in the olden days, I mean like, you know, in the 60s or 50s, 70s even, or 80s, early 80s maybe, you don't really have the mouth to complain or joy because you either even sometimes be insulted if you dare complain that there is, your husband is behaving in an untrustworthy way. But due to civilization, either in Africa or here, there has been a bit more commitment from both husband and wife in marriage and relationship, and you will see that there are more reasons to be loyal and faithful to each other in a relationship. Now, what we want to talk about is we want to try and address the issue that it is not the best practice, even in the Western part of the world, that when a man does something, the next thing is to, you know, send them packing or to start raising words of abuses or to pack their, some when their husband has gone out, they will pack all the bags together and just tell them to just move, take the stuff and leave, just like that, without considering where they will be going or, you know, their welfare in any form or shape. So we will like to discuss the things that we can do as women of valor to avoid escalation of situation to get to this stage. Bearing in mind that it could be a marriage with children, it could be a relationship that has younger ones around that are looking and learning from us. Number one thing that I would like to talk about is to study our husband's mood and try to ignore the mood, the bad mood. I am not saying ignore your husband. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying study your husband's moods. And when he is in a bad mood, ignore the bad moods. And what I mean by this is if your husband is angry or is in a bad mood, sometimes it is better to kind of disengage a little bit than, you know, someone is already looking like, you know, they're not in their good mood. And that is the time you want to ask them of something or you want to challenge them of something. That is not wise for a woman of valor. What you meant to do is to leave that moment aside so that some people intentionally will just look for that bad mood because they just want the fire in the house. And that is the time that, okay, now he's angry, he's not in the good mood, now I'm going to give him this. And then they will start to raise abusive words and, you know, start to challenge or ask questions that you know, that they know is going to cause trouble. So please study your husband's mood and try and avoid bad mood so as to eradicate escalation of any discussion or turning into what's supposed or meant to be a very good discussion into a very sour one. Number two is, I title it, Go to Bed Angry. And what I mean by going to bed angry is, it is better for you as a woman of valor to go to bed, to go and sleep, that is, lay your head and go to sleep in the night, than stirring up an argument in the night time. The reason is because if your husband has gone to work all day, you have gone to work all day, you probably haven't had the time, the opportunity to ask each other, how was your day at work today? Do you have a good day or something? But you've just noticed that the environment is tense, the moods are not very welcoming to each other, are not conducive really. It is better for you to just do your norms and just go to bed rather than using the time that you know you've had a bad day at work to be asking questions or to start a discussion. Even if there is some things to say, you need to try and comport yourself in a way that you're not going to be saying too much. Because the more you say, having worked all day in the evening, human being's brain tends to be a little bit more irritated than the morning time when you've just woken up and you're well relaxed and your brain cells are all active and ready for the day. But not forgetting that it's been a long day for you and for your husband. So it is better to go to bed angry, because then when you wake up in the morning, you're not going to be feeling the same. You're going to feel a little bit more refreshed. And what you could have approached in a very bad or wrong way or manner can be, addressed appropriately in the morning. You will realize that sometimes when you sleep over things, maybe when you are, I've seen situations, I mean, we all have probably been a victim of this, that when you are angry about something and you just want to act on it immediately, you will see that your decision might be wrong. There are times that I personally have felt angry about situations that I have constructed text messages, and at some point I thought, okay, I think this is just a text of the moment. Let me just leave it, not send it. And in the morning, I went back to this text and I realized, actually cut and paste in the notes on the phone. And in the morning, I felt so bad with myself that, thank God I didn't send this message, because as I felt about that message that morning, it would have bruised the brain of the person that I was going to send it to. So I deleted it straight away. And that also taught me a lesson. So when we are angry, it is good to express because it is an emotion sometimes that we don't have control over. So if you can copy that kind of practice. You can put it all down. It's okay. But then you go back and visit it in the morning when you're all awake and refreshed, and you will see that it was not actually a good idea to have, send that message, but good idea that you didn't send it. So women of valor out there, if there is something that you're angry about, most especially avoid arguments in the night time. Arguments and confrontations in the night time is not a good thing. So please try and avoid it. Other things that I have noticed that is very common why women want to send their husband packing and sending them out in the cold is due to unacceptance of some bad habits that are common with men. We must learn to accept some bad habits for our husbands. A boy and a girl can be raised under the same roof, and they can be, taught the same way. But you will see that as time goes on, the boys will drop certain morals that they're being taught, like, put your socks here, arrange your clothes, do this and do that. There is not such a perfect boy. Even the one that you gave birth to as a woman and you raised, don't forget your husband, a woman gave birth to them as well. So let us try and bear and be a little bit tolerant and learn to accept some bad habits. Men will take off their socks and leave it in the living room. Some men will just take off their clothes and put on the sofa instead of hanging it. There will be drinks, empty carton of drinks, soda in the fridge. Nothing in there, but the carton is still sitting there, even though they're the one that took the last drop. Things like this, women can get easily irritated. I'm not saying the irritation is not going to come, but learn to accept some, bad habits. Something like, whenever some people are so, conversant with this, that they will go in the room, put on the lights, and when they leave, they will leave the lights on. We are all promoting saving energy and all that, and cost as well. And women will get irritated about this and say, can you not just, turn this kind of thing off? Why we try to remind them of these things, but this is not enough reason to say, I just can't stand him, I just can't tolerate him. It is not good. So women of valor out there, and ladies of valor as well, learn to accept some bad habits. Just try to tolerate each other. Knowing that you yourself, you are not perfect. You're a woman. We're all human beings. It's just that we are ladies, we are, you know, we tend to be a bit more careful about certain things. You know, your husband is the type that will not change the socks, you know, for 2-3 days. Don't raise abusive, you know, language because you can perceive the smell in the shoe. You can tell him so that he's cautious as well, but you can support by, you know, picking up the socks, put it in the wash. It's not a big deal in that sense. Every man likes to be, you know, pampered, be treated as a son, like a lover, like as a darling, and, you know, be nurtured as well in every aspect. That doesn't mean you're being a slave, not at all, because when you love someone, you will give, and you will give all that it takes to support them and to make sure that little petty things like this is not contributing, because some reasons when you listen to them are very, very, you know, unreasonable, I will call it. Because if somebody, you know, someone was saying one time that I can't stand the odor. How did he get to that stage? Your man is not having a bath or not having a shower. You should know how to convince your man to go and have a shower, because there is no man there unless you know, yourself has been that in that habit of not, you know, that cleanliness, and you just find your feet to be clean. So then you have to support him to grow out of that habit. But because if you two are both hygienic people from the beginning, I don't see any reason why any man will refuse to have a shower. I'm not saying all men will, you know, does have, because we're talking of a broad topic. So all I'm saying in essence is let's learn to accept some bad habit from our husband. And so also men, if you're watching, try and accept some bad habit for your wives. I'm going to go online and appreciate some of our viewers as well. And I would like to thank Miss Oluwabumi Adeboye Johnson Ebony. Thank you for joining us on this program. Tayo Festus, Mr. Tayo Festus, thank you for watching. Mr. Israel Olakunle is watching as well. Thank you very much. And Mr. Tayo Festus says, interesting, very interesting. The CEO of KGC Kingdom Gift Center, located at Ryland, is watching as well. Thank you, Mami, for watching. God bless you. Mr. Diaga says, good topic. Ms. Ricky Shitu said, true word. Mr. Diaga said, this is common among some African women in diaspora because they want to be free and single mommy. Yeah, but being single, well, you're right for saying that. But the fact is, being single, you will find out that there are so many disadvantages of being single. Yes, you might be able to claim certain benefits. Yes, you might, because, yeah, it's true. Because some will say, it's not paying my rent, it's not contributing. So if he goes, then I can go to the government and they can pay, you know, they can support me to pay my rent, they can support me with child welfare and so on and so forth. But don't forget that the children that you wanted to claim money for, to support, at the end of the day, need their father to be in the house. They need, because there will always be a time that a child will feel the impact that, you know, it's only mommy there, and that your hand might not be able to control this child, most especially those that have boys. Girls as well do have their own, you know, challenges that parents face, but more challenging are boys in that sort. So women, don't, because of benefits and the advantages in this country, send your husband back in. Thank you, Mr. Dega, for that contribution. At the end of their action, they always regret sending their Aussie packing. Please advise them. Some women will send their Aussie families with them packing because she never want to see husband family. Too bad. That is really, really bad. We have talked about this like about 2 weeks ago, that we should be tolerant. We should appreciate and be accommodating. Our approach should be our approach to our families, our in-laws. How do you feel if your husband, if it's been your sister or your cousin that had to live in your home, and your husband had to send your cousin or your nephew packing? This is not a good practice. And if you send your husband packing and then they find favor with God, and then you see things are going on well with them, then you want to struggle and fight to belong again. That is not going to be possible, because it's just not right. Because if they have found love in their life and they have moved on, then it's your loss. And I can tell you, there are people out there that are not all bad. Because they're single doesn't mean they're single not because they are bad. They are single because there is one situation or the other that led to them being single. It's not every woman that is single that sent their husband packing, or whatever situation that could have resulted in them being single. So if you send a good man out, if you cannot look after your home and support your husband in a way to keep your home, then if you lost it, then you have lost it. But then that situation, then you will hear women saying, God will judge, God will judge. But don't forget that God was there as well, and is still there, to see to the whole situation, and is the right judge. Because women are often very familiar with that statement. So please, do all that is in your capacity to keep your home. I would also like to appreciate Mr. Olua AP Tosin is watching as well. Thank you for watching. Another point that I would like to talk about is distract yourself. If you know you cannot try and avoid, I don't want to use the word ignore too much, so that I don't think ignoring your husband is good. You should avoid the time that your husband is or your partner is in a bad mood. If you know it is impossible for you to do this, you can also distract yourself. If you're having trouble ignoring or that attitude, distract yourself, engage yourself, do something. You know the reason why you're doing this. It's not that you're foolish, it's not that you're stupid, because some people will tell you that you're stupid for tolerating certain things in your home. But I tell you, if it's them, they will tolerate more, but they're not going to tell you. There was this clips of a lady that was calling her friend and asking, oh, where is she? And the friend said, oh, I'm at a Chinese restaurant or something like that. And then she said, is it only Chinese restaurant that your husband can take you to? What about this? What about that? And started mentioning names. Oh, right now as I'm talking to you, I'm with my husband, and then one big restaurant like that. But actually the girl was actually drinking Gary in our home, you see. So please don't be foolish in your undertakings. Don't be foolish in your decisions. Try and know why you are taking your decisions and the steps that you're taking. Distract yourself. You can distract yourself with so many things. Get busy in the house. Do cleaning. Bring your wardrobe down on your bed, rearrange everything. Make your environment cleaner. You can read a book or go for a ride, rather than, if like sitting at that minute, because there are times that looking at each other can be so intense and fuming, and men usually will just pick up their coats and just walk out, go for a walk and take a fresh air. But women, we want to stay there and moan and groan and complain. But we can also learn from men. We can also distract ourselves. All that man was trying to do is, okay, I'm going to leave for a while, let the environment calm down. By the time I come back, then maybe things will be better. But the situation is, actually women, we are putting the situation in a very hot cooler. So as soon as the man is coming back, we just take it out right hot from the cooler, and then we start the trouble again. We don't need this. We can distract ourselves as well, because what we are working towards and what we want to achieve is not to break our home, but to keep it. Don't forget, the Bible says a wise woman buildeth her home. So distract yourself, go, if you register at a gym, go for a walk, read book. If you know how to ride bicycle, ride your bicycle. Even if you know how to drive, if you know you are in that calm mood to drive, you can go for a drive and just, go to a coffee shop or something, sit down and relax and unwind the anger. And by the time you come back, I'm sure you will feel better. I'm going to take a very short break now. And when I come back, I'll have other points that we need to discuss on habitation, morals, and values. Please don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.
Prophetess divine presenter J-boy Adeaga Oku iṣẹ́ ọpọlọ Kiki nana mi ńkọ́ ọmọ Adeaga ìwọ ni head of department ní ìlú Naija Reverend David mi ńkọ́ MC Kibet mo ń gbádùn ẹ jù ìwọ ni presenter tó pọ̀jù owó gbogbo ọmọ Naija pátápátá tí ń bẹ nílùú London ẹ kú iṣẹ́ ọpọlọ ẹ ṣé. Noble People's International na you be baba Noble Radio Noble TV I dey hello Noble People's International na you.
Ayato, Noble People's International Magazine, unveiling Noble TV and Noble Radio worldwide.
Èrò ẹ wá wo tí bàbá ṣe láyé ọmọ rẹ̀ Noble People's International na yóò bí bàbá wọn. Ìròyà ẹ wá wo tí bàbá ṣe láyé ọmọ rẹ̀ Noble People's International I dey hello Noble People's International na yóò bí bàbá Noble Radio Noble TV I dey hello Noble People's International. Now you be baba, Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello. When I think of the past, now you be baba. When I think of the present, you dey gidiga. When I think of the future, you said you're my solid rock. Now you be papa, make you jolly, noble family. By your Adeaga, make you jolly.
Wow.
Noble People's International. Now you be baba. Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello. Noble People's International. Now you be baba. Noble Radio, Noble TV. I dey hello. Congratulations to you, MC Ike Diamond, Noble Police and MC Cole. I dey hello. Yetunde Majek Okeshola ńkọ́ ṣá máa gbádùn ní tiẹ̀. Ayaba Esther George Orékelẹ́wà tiwa. Mr. Ọ̀tún Àràbí ńkọ́ ṣá máa jó kọjọkọjọ. TKM Connection mo ń gbádùn ẹ jù. Báyọ̀ Adéyàgá MD and CEO Noble People's International I dey hello ìtọ́lẹ̀. Noble People's International.
You all welcome back. Thank you for staying tuned. As we discussed before the short break, we were trying to examine habitation, morals, and values, and the reason why women send their husband out of the home and why they send them packing. And we have, talked about certain topics about trying to check the times and trying to observe the moods of the moods of our husband or our partner, and try to avoid the bad moods, the time that they're in bad mood, to try and disengage from that period to avoid any escalation of arguments or turn a pleasant discussion into a very, a very, very sour one. We talked about going to bed angry. That is, you'd rather go to bed being angry and wake up refreshed in the morning than, discussing and having discussion at night. Bearing in mind that everybody, both of you have worked all day, your brain is tired, and it's really not the best time to open up a very decent discussion. We talked about learning to accept some bad habits from our partners, our husband, to try and be a bit more tolerant and support them in the areas that we know that they are not perfect, knowing that we also have some flaws that they are coping with, but even might not even bother to tell us. We talked about distracting ourselves as women of valor to do things, at that period when we think we want to start a very hot, we can go for a ride, we can go to the local shop, have a walk, read a book, or, watch a movie or something like that. Just distract yourself and not to concentrate on that situation. Or you listen to music, gospel music, any kind of music you like or you enjoy, something that will calm you down. So that's the topic that we discussed before we went on break. Now I'd like to talk about being polite but formal. When I say to avoid or ignore the time that they're in bad moods, that doesn't mean we should be rude in a way, because we cannot completely blind our husbands out like they're not there or they're not existing. Because when we are angry women, we can be so malicious. Some couples will be in the same house and will not talk for about a week. Some will be on the same bed, and the gap on that bed between them will be is enough to take another adult. We have to be polite and be formal. It doesn't have to get to that stage, because if we manage the situation very well, it's not going to get to that stage, because that is when you're actually meant to be sorting the problem out finally. So the time that you are trying to ignore those moods, you still have to acknowledge their presence. Even though you're not in the mood to talk because you are not happy yourself because of what has happened, you still acknowledge, because like say maybe the two of you are in the living room together. If he talks to you, you cannot just blind him out. You can make your response to be very short, like, yes, okay, but don't do it in such a sarcastic way that will provoke anger as well. Knowing that often men will, do something, but it's not like they want to dwell on it. They've done it and they think it's done and it's done and it's gone. It's done. The deed is done already. But then women don't let go quickly. We hold on to things. We hold on to pains. We hold on to grudges. And the longer we hold on to these things, the longer it's taking us to have a peaceful environment in our homes. But these are the things that we're trying to avoid by discussing all of these topics. If you have missed some of the points that we have discussed, you can please go and listen to this program again from the beginning, and you will see some of the things that we already discussed. So you still have to be polite even in that period, but you can be very formal. And these are the ways by which our husband can know that we are not happy. And any man that loves his wife at this stage will ask, have I done anything wrong? Have I offended you? Or in whichever way, unless there is no love in that relationship or marriage, the man would normally come and ask and, possibly apologize for whatever they have done. So please try and not be rude when you are still showing your emotions in this way. Another point I'd like to talk about is communicate indirectly. If you know when you open up or you open your mouth, sorry to say, things that will come out is not going to be good, you can send messages, you can leave notes, but make sure they are notes that are not bruising or or offensive in nature. So you can communicate in other ways, like a sister was asking last week. You can send, you can put a little note, but that doesn't mean, because complete silent and being placid like that is not healthy in a relationship. But at that minute, like, maybe you will normally, wake up and do certain things, or you will wake him up, or this and that, If you want to communicate in that way, if you feel at that moment, you can send a text. I know of a couple that they often, even when situations like this happen, they will be sending text messages just to communicate. No angry communications, but there is some important information that they need to pass across, and they will do that by text, and it's okay. And by the time they send like 3, 4, 5 messages, is the text messages are coming back to like loving and cheerful messages, and that's how it ends. So it works for some. So we can always all try different things and see what works better in our home. But the bottom line is that all that we do, we make sure that we are not provoking each other to anger, that we escalate to the stage that even you as a woman, you get beaten. And also, when we talk of women, we're not talking about domestic violence today, but it's very shocking as well that in some relationship, in some marriage, in some home, it is actually the woman that is being the one that is abusing the husband, all because the man is decent and calm and level-headed. I was made aware of a situation that was very, very embarrassing, really, even to talk about, that the woman was slapping the husband so many times and boldly saying that, I will slap you 10 times, I will slap you more, and things like that. That is not a woman of valor. Like, that is not good. Please, if you are a woman out there, please, it doesn't matter how cool, how calm your husband is. It's no crime for a man to be gentle. It's no crime and it's no offense that a man is loving and caring. It shouldn't be taken for an advantage, or when some women, when your husband is all supportive. So some men are so loving and caring that, when you're cooking, you will cook together. When you finish serving and eating, they will take the plates to the kitchen. I know in this part of the world, it's nothing, it's not new and it's common. From where I come from, that is not very common, and I don't think women should be expecting too much of that. But you know what? Because we're in the 21st century, all the new generation, like the newly married couples, they're practicing the same thing, because the world is changing and people are supporting each other equally. The fact, and when your husband do this kind of thing, you should appreciate them, even though you know that, yes, the plates you both ate together in it, yes, the pot the food you cooked in the pot, you both ate from it. When they do things like this, we still need to appreciate them and say thank you. It doesn't cost too much to appreciate our spouse, but we just want to make it like is their duty. Who's saying thank you to me? Some men will appreciate you when you finish cooking to say thank you, well done, or appreciate you in some way. Hope you're not too tired, and they make jokes and stuff like that. But for a woman to now made it a way like the husband is like the houseboy or like a slave in the house, to say, have you put the bin out for the bin men to collect? Have you washed the plates or something? I mean, that is outrageous. That is not something that should be heard from a woman of valor. It's not good. So please, if you're a woman out there, whether you are married or you are looking to get married, this is not a good thing to do. Don't abuse the help that you get. It is, men, it's their responsibility to look after us. It is your responsibility to be good and to pamper us as a princess, as a queen as well. But that doesn't mean we should take advantage and enslave them. And also, I will ask all men that are out there to keep to nurture and support their wife as much as possible, because it is not easy for a woman to go to work as you've been to work and just leave all the work, the other household, work for them alone. In African countries, we have the opportunity to have domestic assistance and help, but in the Western world, it's not something that is very common. Yes, we can get cleaner, but when you talk of people that stays with you that will see this and pick it at the same time, to keep the house clean and all that, we shouldn't just be someone that will litter and make the environment unconducive. So, but in essence, women, I'm saying, please don't abuse your husband. It is rude, very extremely rude to do that, and it is ungodly. Now, I would also like to talk about giving short responses. I think I mentioned that earlier in one of the topics, that if you know you are not in the mood, in that right mood as a woman of valor, try not to talk too much at a time when you're having discussion. There is tension in the air, in the environment. That is not the time to start talking, because what you do not plan to say, you will say, and you will not be saying it rightly. You either say it offensively or rudely. So it is better to just keep your statement very short and concise at this period. And also, we as women, we need to focus on ourselves. Focus on yourself. We often tend to want to believe that any tension, any problem in a relationship is all down to men, that they're the only cause why things is not working out. If a man has cheated on an occasion and you want to, because of that, owe the man ransom forever, or want to, because of that, punish him forever, or want to, because of that, it's not good for a relationship that has gone. I'm not saying men should go out cheating. There shouldn't be any room, there shouldn't be any reason for that anyway. But well, not unless you are in an open marriage or whatever they call open relationship. It is not what I advise, it's not what I preach, it's not what I will practice, or I practice. But cheating should not happen in a relationship where there is love. But what I'm saying as women, because this is the area that we tend to have difficulty, very, very big difficulty in letting go, and which can really lead to something really bad and dangerous in our home. We should try and listen and be sensible. If we need help, professional help and advice and stuff like that, you have to weigh what you have to lose and what you have to gain. And I'm not saying gaining in terms of money or pleasure. It could be money, it could be pleasure, but you have to weigh the amount of how much you love this person. Do you want to forgive and let go and put it behind you? There are many ways where you can seek advices and counseling with regards to that. So it's not always men that is always at fault. We ourselves need to examine ourselves. In a situation where we said, okay, the man is lazy or is not bringing in income, is not supportive in the house enough, it is not enough reason, because you are a helpmate, you are a helper, you're supposed to support your husband. I'm not saying, because I have to clarify, because when we talk of marriages and relationships, every situation is different. Some people will have the money, but they would like to just spend it on themselves alone. They only look after number one. They only want to enjoy their own money. They don't care how the wife paid the rent, the house even that they lived in. They don't care how the woman gets the food into the plate, as long as they get food to eat when they get home, and they are working as well, and they're earning money. That is not fair on the part of men. But when you know genuinely that your husband hasn't got money or your partner hasn't got money, and you are cohabiting, you are living together, you need to support each other. You need to hope and pray for the raining and a better day. Don't, because of that, says, oh, he can go. If the man is faithful and truthful to God, when you do that and you send them packing, they will fall into the hand of someone that will appreciate them better and the glory of God will begin to radiate in their life. And when you now see, it is not for you to start trying to push yourself and forging and forcing your way through, because you were the cause in the first. So that we will not live to regret our actions. It is best to think properly, think deeply. If you know you're tired in the head, or you're just confused, talk to people, talk to your religious leaders, talk to your pastors, talk to people that are, have been in marriage or relationship for years, that have got a lot of experience. They can always advise you. Another point that I would discuss, I'm coming to the end of the program for today, but another point that is very important I would like to discuss is based on a lady that I was discussing with a few months ago. She doesn't mind me to share this because, yes, she did say yes. Some people doesn't mind, they will say, but whatever you discuss with us, we value, and we do pride ourselves in confidentiality. But when you want your voice to be heard as well through our forum, our platform, and you want to share your experience so other people can learn from it, when you talk to us, you can let us know, like this lady did. So she called, and she did say that she's fed up of her relationship, her marriage, basically, because the husband, after he spent like 3 months in the country, in United Kingdom. He's gonna go to Nigeria because he's got a business that he's setting up there, and they have 2 kids together, and she felt she's the only one that is being drowned. She's got a full-time work as well, and she's really thinking of, what is the point? She felt being used, and she said, at the end of the day, he comes back and he gets the pleasure of being called daddy, and the children see him and they're happy and jumping around. But then what about her, that she's being there all the time, in a way jealous that even the children are embracing their dad? And she was asking, how can anyone cope with this, even to build up a career, to be able to raise kids, by yourself? Because she felt very lonely, raising and managing the home in that situation. But my advice in this situation is to plan yourself properly. You need to plan and organize yourself. If you know your husband is the type that has to travel very often, it is no use to plan your routine around him, because it's only going to kind of fall flat every now and again, and you're going to be destabilized. You plan yourself, organize yourself in a way so that when he's around, it's an extra pair of hands and an extra help in that sense. So if you know what is going to give the children a routine that they can, because every child needs a routine. They don't want to be, put in this way this week or this month, and the following month another routine, and then the following, they get confused, and that could destabilize them mentally and even in their studies. So you need to plan yourself. If you're in this situation as a woman, you can have 2, 3, 4 kids. You can do it. People do it with 5 children. It's not a good thing. I'm not saying it's not tedious, but you can do it. It just needs planning. See what you can do that is not going to be harmful to your health. If you have to take a nanny, if you have to take someone to engage someone to help you pick or drop the children while you work, because you want to maintain yourself as a career woman as well, but it can be done. Ask people that are very closer to you for advice, and see how you can give your children a stabilized situation and a stable home. Don't use the opportunity because your husband, because whatever I believe is setting up in abroad is also going to be for your benefit as well. So don't, because of that, think is going to meet other women, and you want to, because of that, just end the relationship. Give him a chance. Give your man a chance. Don't just cut off the relationship just like that. And for men out there as well, please ask, and I beg your indulgence, to be more considerate when it comes to your commitment to your marriage, to your home. Every man knows what makes their wife to be angry. If they say they don't know, you know what will make your wife to be angry, you know what will make them to be happy. And it's just good to try and make your woman happy, as women of valor also try to make the home conducive for you. Finally, I would say you need to, sorry, I have 2 more points. You need to make time to discuss issue. Communication is a very, very vital element of relationship. Any relationship that hasn't got effective communication cannot really work. You need to discuss. You shouldn't I've heard a man saying to his wife that your voice is irritating. If you say that to a lady, of course you're going to, piss them off. You're going to, wind them up in a wrong way. So as women are minding what they say, I implore men as well, to mind what they say to their women. You must create time to talk together, to discuss issue and iron things together. It is not good to create time to talk when you know you are not going to have the time. You know you're going to go out, or you have an appointment by 4 o'clock, and then by 3:30, after you call your husband or your partner to say, can I have a word with you? How long do you know the discussion is going to take? It's always good to leave it when around the time or area that, period that there is not an immediate appointment, so that you can have all the time to talk and iron things out properly. If it's a good thing to kind of switch off your phone. You can ask your husband, can you please put your phone in silent, because so that we avoid distraction. Some men are so respectful when they're having quality time with their wife, not just, they will switch their phone off. And some will just, put their phone on and at any time anyway. There could be this kind of attitude. But as women of valor, I want to advise you that, yes, men are men. They can stand as our father and as our, bodyguard and our protector, in that sense, our head. But every man still needs, I won't call it taming, but every man still needs to be taught certain things, that maybe mommy has omitted to teach, when in the development, and things that, you expect in your marriage. There is no, because two cannot agree together, cannot stand unless they agree together. So I want to believe that you both love each other before you enter the relationship that ended up in marriage. So you should be able to have certain level of love that should carry you along, even when you argue, when you disagree. You will see that you will end it up with love, because you will know that your disagreement is to correct each other on certain things that even an outsider can see and may not be able to tell, because they'll say, what's my business with that? But because you're the wife, it is your business. And because he's the husband, it is his business to correct you. Some men are so, polite in their way, even with your dressing, they will tell you, no, darling, I don't want you to do this. Darling, I want you to do this. Same equally goes for women. So let us create time to make our home more loving, more, romantic, and to always create a very loving atmosphere. I would like to also acknowledge, okay, Mr. Diaga says some women are talkative. They will be looking for what they didn't lose too. They didn't lose, too noisy. Okay, yeah, women has got the blessing of the God, they call it, but women, we've talked about this in the past. Try and keep it down. This is the essence of it all. Don't be too talkative. Yeah, when you're with your friends and, all our talking shouldn't just be around, men and issues and problems. Let's find time to discuss all that stuff, Let's share the word of God together. For example, let's talk about stories in our religious book, in our Bible and stuff like that, and educate ourselves. And don't make too much noise on your husband. We've just been told, a men representative has just told us, Thank you for that, Mr. Adebayo Adeaga. Monica Fron, thank you for watching this program. He says, this is unusual. This is unusual to defend man in these days, but this is a natural thing in relationship to take care of each other. This is what I'm seeing with my parents and grandparents. The ladies were always doing the chores, but this was done with love. Serving a husband was never seen as an extra effort. It was rather, a pleasure. Thank you, Monica. That's a very, positive contribution. It is true. Yeah, for our parents, our grandparents, they love serving their husband. It gives them pleasure, and it should give us pleasure as well when you treat your husband right, when you make the food and you make it nice, and rather than bossing them around. It's not really a program to defend men, because you will see that as I talk about men, it's just that women, we are the manager of the home. And if we really want our relationship to work, it will work. Someone says one time that we have got the key to the heart of our husband, and this is why we're trying to encourage us so that we can have a good home. Because if a man wants a relationship to finish, if the woman doesn't want it to finish, there are ways by the women we go about. But if a woman wants the relationship to finish, instantly it will finish. And this is why women has got a lot to do. Men doesn't have the ability that to, not all men, some might do, to keep malice, to keep one offense in their heart, but women, we can do for years with no problem at all. And this is why we're trying, so that we can have a better home and our children can be brought up in a very good home. Mr. Olatempo Alashepe is watching. Thank you very much, brother. God bless you. My big daddy is watching from Nigeria. Dr. Amos Adepoju, thank you very, very much, daddy. God bless you, sir. Mr. Olubumi Ayola is watching. Thank you. Oloyede Jr. is watching. My nephew, thank you. Mr. Jide Olukayode Awodeyi is watching. Thank you very much. Mr. Dolapo Awolese is also joining us and watching. Thank you very much, brother. God bless you. And also, I think Daddy Dr. Amos Adepoju has put a sign of food. I believe Daddy is saying that women, we should cook. If we don't know how to cook, let's take cooking lessons. It's not too late. And, try and do, things that will make your home in the evenings when your husband is not going anywhere, your partner, unusual foods, some snacks, kind of, healthy ones. It won't cost too much to just make the home very, very lively. Even, all our African part of the world as well, I've got this, restaurants and stuff. It doesn't have to be only the same kind of food. The man knows if he doesn't eat amala or potato, your husband can, can boldly say what is going to meet at home when he return from work or something. This is not good. We have to be very creative, do different things just to keep your home, and the Lord Almighty will help us in Jesus' name. Also, I would like to encourage us that when even we want to make ourselves, because I'm not saying we should all bottle and not say something, but if we want to approach a situation and ask our man, it is inconsiderate when you lashed, I will give us a statement and I will tell us how it is better to position. It is good to use the I word. And what I mean by this is, say for example, you want to accuse your husband or challenge him on something, and the statement read thus: it is inconsiderate when you lash out at me after a bad day at work. Instead, phrase this using I statement, saying I feel hurt when you take out a lousy work day on me because I don't want to be in a relationship where getting yelled at is the norm. Instead of saying you do this, when you start the word by you, you are accusing and it is challenging. Instead, use the I statement that I don't feel good that you talk to me this way. Start it with I rather than you, or, that could be very challenging. So let's try and, try and wave our statements in a way, let's shape our words in a way that is going to bring peace at the end of the day. And also, when we are having discord, that's the last now but not the least, when we are having problems in our home, when the tension and the atmosphere is very unconducive, every man needs to know that they are still safe, okay? Because if a man is loving to his wife, they don't want the relationship to end. We often tend to believe that men don't care. Some men do care, because they will say, okay, men can easily, a 60-year-old man can easily get a 20-something-year-old girl. Yes, that is true. And it's not easy for a woman to just break up today and tomorrow, unless you have been practicing bad things before, you're not just going to leave your husband today and in the next year or 6, 2 years, say you have found someone that is now going to make you happy for the rest of your life. So let's think about all of these things, and before we take some of our actions that we end us up in sending our husbands out. It shouldn't be the solution, and we should try not to avoid this. So in reassuring your husband in this period that you're having tensions, even if you don't want to talk, you can do things like, pat in the back, just like, little rub in the hand, maybe when you're going up. Don't make it a complete ignoring thing because you are angry. Try and find a way to kind of make the man know that, okay, you're still safe. I'm not happy at the moment, but you're still safe. This is not all about breaking up. Be more physically affectionate. If you're not being verbally affectionate, be physically affectionate. There is nothing like you're going to bed. Okay, you're not happy really, but you're still going to bed. Some husband and wife don't hug unless they are in bed. There's nothing stopping you from hugging or kissing every now and again, maybe like good night or goodbye or something like that. All these little things, does a lot with our brain. And if you have not been doing this kind of thing before, I will advise you, you can put all these spices up in your relationship. And you see that your husband will think, oh, what's happened to my wife? It's like a changed woman now. All is just for us to have a happy home and to turn a new leaf in our life. I want to appreciate everybody. Adeboye Gbenga Abiodun, thank you for watching all the way from Nigeria. Thank you. God bless you. Whole family is good. So today, this will bring us to the end of our Women of Valor, and we have discussed a lot of things today. Don't forget, moral values, there is standards of good and evil which govern an individual's behavior. The standards of good and evil that governs individuals' behavior. So whether you now decide to do evil or good, but what we are trying to say is let us do good so that we can be happy in our home. And I will be saying goodbye to you now. And until I come your way next week, I want to appreciate you once again for joining us on this program and for watching Noble People Television all the time that we're on air, and for sharing this program. Please try and share this program for today as well, so other people, your colleagues, friends, families, can benefit from the little advice. And if there's anything you would like us to talk about, you can always email us at Noble People International Magazine, or leave your comments on this program. I always go back to watch comments, to see comments and see if you have any contribution. By the grace of God, next week we are going to be addressing joint accounts. Our sister asked last week if it is a good thing to have a joint account with our husband. We are going to discuss fully on this. We will express husband and wife, people that are not married, and we will, in our best possible way. God bless you, and until I come your way next week, my name is Yetunde Oluyinka Okeshola. Stay blessed.
Noble TV and Noble Radio worldwide.
Èrò ẹ wá wo ohun tí bàbá ṣe láyé ọmọ rẹ̀. Noble People's International na yóò bí bàbá wọn. Ìròyà ẹ wá wo ohun tí bàbá ṣe láyé ọmọ rẹ̀. Noble People's International àìdè ló sing. Noble People's International na yóò bí bàbá. Noble Radio, Noble TV àìdè ló Noble People's International na yóò bí bàbá. Noble Radio, Noble TV àìdè ló When I think of the past, na you be baba. When I think of the present, you dey gidigba. When I think of the future, you said you were solid rock. Now you be papa, make you jolly, noble family. By your heart, make you jolly.